Carl Jung made one quiet discovery in 1916 that changed how he understood the human mind forever. He realized you are not one person, you are many. He noticed something his patients could not see. They were split, living as fragments of themselves, believing the loudest fragment was who they really were. Jung called the hidden wholeness behind that split the self, and finding it became his life's work. This is not the small self you talk about in self-help books. This is something far older, far deeper, far more real. By the end of this video, you will understand what Jung meant and why your inner split has been waiting for this exact knowledge. Carl Jung was a Swiss psychiatrist born in 1875. He worked alongside Freud before breaking away to map deeper territory. While Freud studied the wounded child, Jung studied the whole psyche. He wanted to know what lived underneath the everyday personality. What he found shocked even him. Inside every person was a quiet center, a wholeness that was not the ego, not the persona, not the shadow. He called the center the self with a capital S, the organizing intelligence of the entire psyche, the blueprint of who you actually are. Jung believed most adults live their entire lives without meeting this self. They identify with the noise instead of the center. The noise is the ego, the mask, the shadow, the inner critic, the wounded child, all real, none of them you. The self is the awareness that contains all of these parts. The wholeness underneath the split, the you behind the many yous. Picture a wheel with many spokes. The spokes are your inner parts. The hub at the center is the self. Everything turns around it. Most people only know the spokes. They live spoke to spoke, reacting, defending, performing, never resting at the hub. Carl Jung wrote that the meeting with oneself is the most terrifying of all meetings, because the self does not flatter you, it reveals you. When you begin to sense the self, something strange happens. The inner split becomes visible. The fragments come forward. You start to notice the part of you that performs at work, the part that collapses at home, the part that resents, the part that pretends. You see the inner critic and the inner child standing on opposite ends of the same broom. You see the persona smiling while the shadow seethes. This is not breakdown. Jung called this the beginning of individuation, the lifelong process of becoming who you actually are. But here is where most modern teachers miss the point. They try to fix the parts. Jung said the parts do not need fixing. The parts need integration. They need to be witnessed by the self, held, listened to, brought home. The self is not another part. It is the field that holds all parts, the deeper layer of you that has never been wounded. Think of it this way. A storm has many winds, many directions, many sounds, but the sky holding the storm is untouched. The self is the sky. The parts of you are the weather. You have been mistaking the weather for who you are your whole life. Jung wrote about a symbol that appeared again and again in his patients' dreams, a circle, a mandala, a unity. He believed this circle was the unconscious showing itself, saying to the dreamer there is a center inside you, return to it. Patients who had never heard of mandalas drew them spontaneously, in moments of breakdown, in moments of breakdown, in moments of breakthrough. The psyche knew. This is the part most modern psychology refuses to accept. The unconscious has its own intelligence, and it is always working toward wholeness. Your inner split is not a malfunction. It is the stage. The psyche is showing you what needs to be integrated. The depression that visits you, the rage you cannot explain, the longing that has no object. These are not problems. These are messengers. Each one points to a part of you that was sent away, a fragment exiled to keep the persona acceptable. Jung called this loss of soul. You did not become split by accident. You became split because survival required it. Some parts of you were not allowed. Maybe anger was punished. Maybe sadness was shamed. Maybe joy was inconvenient, so those parts went underground. Stay with me here. This next part will explain something about yourself you have never been able to articulate. The parts that went underground did not die. They kept living. They kept waiting. They kept influencing you from the basement. The inner split you feel is the distance between the parts upstairs and the parts downstairs, the persona above, the exiled below. The self is not on either floor. The self is the whole house, and only the self can call the exiled parts back home. This is why willpower never integrates the shadow, why positive thinking never silences the inner critic. They are part of the split. Only awareness that does not belong to any part can hold all the parts. That awareness is what Jung meant by the self. You have felt it before, in rare moments, a strange spaciousness, a calm underneath the noise, and knowing that does not argue. That was not a mood, that was contact with the self, a glimpse of the center your psyche has been organizing itself around. Most people get a few seconds of this contact and then lose it. The ego rushes back in, the parts demand attention, the noise returns. Jung said the goal of psychological life is to make these glimpses more frequent, to live closer to the self, to return to the hub. Comment below with a single word if any part of this is landing for you. Write the word wholeness. Let the algorithm find others on this path. Now I want to share a practice Jung used with his patients. It takes 10 minutes a day. It costs nothing. It changes everything. He called it active imagination, a way of meeting your inner parts while staying anchored as the self. Most people have never tried it. Sit quietly in a chair. Close your eyes. Imagine the part of you that has been the loudest this week. Anger, grief, fear. Do not become that part. Do not push it away. Sit across from it. Look at it, the way a calm parent looks at a frightened child. Now ask it one question. What are you trying to tell me? Then wait. Do not script the answer. Let the part speak. The first few times you do this, nothing will happen. The ego will mock the practice. The parts will hide. This is normal. But if you continue, something shifts. The parts begin to speak. The inner split becomes a conversation. The self begins to mediate. This is not visualization. This is not affirmation. This is the disciplined inner work Jung built his entire late career around. What Jung wanted you to know is this: you are not broken, you are split, and the split is healed by witnessing, not fixing. If Jung were sitting with you right now, he would not give you a diagnosis. He would ask you which parts of yourself you have exiled. He would say the goal is not to feel better. The goal is to become whole, and wholeness includes the parts you do not like. He would tell you the self is patient. It has waited your entire life for you to turn toward it. It will wait a little longer. But every day you spend identified with a single fragment is a day you live as less than yourself, and life is short for that. The inner split you carry is not punishment. It is invitation. The psyche is asking you to come home to the center. Carl Jung wrote that he who looks outside dreams. He who looks inside awakens. The self is what you meet when you look inside long enough. You will not find it through achievement. You will not find it through relationships. You will not find it through belief. You find it by sitting with what you have refused to sit with, by listening to what you have refused to hear, by becoming whole. Tonight before sleep, do this one thing. Write down 3 parts of yourself you struggle to accept. Name them clearly. Then write one sentence underneath each. I see you. I am not you. I will not exile you anymore. Sign your name at the bottom. This small act is how the self begins to take its rightful place, not by force, by recognition, by the simple willingness to witness. Your shadow is not your enemy. Your persona is not your enemy. Your inner critic is not your enemy. Your split is not your enemy. The only thing standing between you and wholeness is the belief that one fragment is the whole story. It is not. You are larger. You are the awareness that can hold all of it. The sky behind the weather, the hub behind the spokes, the self behind the split. This is what Carl Jung spent his life trying to give us. Not a theory, a doorway, a way back into the wholeness we forgot we were. The Archetype code exists for this work, for the ones ready to stop performing and start integrating. Welcome to the path home. If this video reached something quiet in you, subscribe and stay close. The next video will take you deeper into the inner architecture Jung mapped. And remember what Jung wrote near the end of his life. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Begin tonight.